Okay, let's get into it. This review of the gameplay. You know what I'm saying? Right here, you could probably be swinging on this guy. Like your Moira's like with you, so you could just essentially, you don't necessarily have to hold your shield up if you're not really like blocking anything in the scenario, because your shield hasn't taken any damage. So you could just essentially just be swinging and hitting your hammer against this wall right here, and then your hammer will like clip through it a little bit, and then essentially you'll be able to swing through the wall a little bit, and it may or may not get you ult. A lot of scenarios it will get you some of your ult. So I mean, this isn't like particularly bad, but like I feel like the swinging would be a little bit better, especially since you have like a Moira that's just gonna like follow you, and like not like an Anna, so you don't have to necessarily worry about leaving Anna to the whole lot. It's kind of unlucky if that both his supports got down fire like that, and then they go to point, and then you get them. So this is all good. And right here, I think you just essentially get killed because you sort of lose a little bit of track of your health. Just like when you're on this Brigitte, like getting the Brigitte is the right call. I just think you should have like either gone into cover a little bit sooner or shielded a little bit sooner, because the Ashe is back there and she does a lot of damage. So other than that, you play really well in this fight. So you got the Reinhardt before them, so you're gonna have Shatter for them, and the winning team generally gets more ult than the losing team, and you don't even have yours yet, so he's probably not gonna have his yet, basically. So you get the run. Yeah, holding this position right here is good. Just kind of taking as much space as you can. You just might as well take it. You don't want to give him like free space. So here, right here, again, you could be like, this is only for about like 3 seconds that this ends up happening, but you could be still swinging and then threatening them. But here, this is a good play. So you take the right position. So normally, as a VOD reviewer guy such as myself, it's really bad to point out other people's mistakes, but I want to let you know exactly why you got killed here, and this is not your fault. So let's take a look. So your Moira is healing you right here, and you're at 500 health. Okay, and she's still healing you. So look how much your Moira is healing. And then when you actually need healing right here, she heals you for a bit, and then she runs out, and then is no longer able to heal you. And then I think it'll flip over to her, and she's trying to get fuel right now. And so really, as a VOD review person, it's really bad for me to point that out, but I just felt like I would, because it's not your fault like that you lost that. Like, you ended up taking the right position.
60 seconds remaining.
Yeah, so this position is good. With your positioning, I want to load up Overwatch real quick. It's just a minor thing I'm gonna point out. If my game doesn't take forever. Sorry for the wait. You might as well just like put it on ×2 speed if you haven't already. Okay, so this is just basically I want to explain what wide peeking is. So if I'm against these bots and they're shooting at me, if I take too much damage, I want to be able to go into cover immediately. So essentially, I want to be on the cover. Like, I don't want to be out here. Because if I'm here and I take too much damage, I have to take 1, 2... I have to take like 2 seconds to get back, whereas I could just hit the A key and then get back immediately. So how this relates to... Let me turn off the sound. How this relates to the game is basically you get a little bit far out. A couple times here, like, it's not too bad, but basically you could essentially just be like standing on this little corner right here and be like swinging at this kind of area. Like, essentially, I'm gonna just switch to reinhardt in the game, like, just so I make it really clear what I'm talking about. So like, if our teamies are right here and the enemies are right here, you can just, you just swing right here basically for the most part. Because for this little bit, there's not a whole lot that needs to be shielded. You really are shielding more like this way rather than this way, I feel like. But that's you gotta make a really small thing. And you deal a lot of damage to that 3-hit max. So, when you have a teammate just kind of like feed like this, when you're on offense, if this was the attacking team and they had lost a player, they could just go back and respawn. But unfortunately, since you're the defending team, if you don't take the fight, you give up a lot of your payload. And you don't have a Lucio, and the spawn on Nubani is extremely far away from this spot. So you essentially have to give them some of the payload because that guy got killed. You block the shadow for yourself, so that's really good. Unfortunately, whoever this is a little bit out of position. This is actually, I don't know, like, this is a really good slam, but you're down 2 players. Generally, you shouldn't use your ult if you're down 2 players, unless you see a really good opportunity like this, which this is a really good opportunity, but unfortunately, it ends up not working out. So this is just, like, mostly not your fault that you lost here, but if 2 of your team, in general, if, like, you have 2 teammates dead, try not to use your, like, ult. So with this pin on this bob, so you kind of want to, like, when you pinned, you want to, so this wall right here is what you want to hit. You, like, this right here, this gray bit, you want to hit this, like, kind of circular, what's it called? Cylindrical pillar, because that's just going to take you, like, way back. Essentially, you want to, like, not give up the front line and pin him. So you want to stand, like, so if you pin him right here, then you're just going to hit the cylinder. But you essentially want to go to the right of him. You just want to keep walking to the right of him and then pin him then. So if I'm, like, in the game and then this is my front line position and then there's the bob, I don't want to go like this basically, because here I'm all the way back here. If I just wanted to pin him to, like, right there, I would essentially just want to, like, walk back and then wait for him to respawn, and then right here I would pin him, because it leaves me here rather than leaving me over there.
Back into the frame.
Let me rewatch this actually. Um, what exactly happens here? That's sort of. So this is really good right here, getting the cleave damage on the deep end of Reinhardt. Like, he gets a lot of your opener. So from here you have enough shield to kind of get back. So when walking around, just jump and do this. So you essentially, if you were just wanting to like walk straight just to get like the extra movement speed, you might as well just jump and then use your shield. So it shields you a little bit, but it doesn't completely get rid of your movement speed. So that if you're trying to like run away, then just do that backwards. So right here you make the right play, I think, of making the shatter, but unfortunately just wait, actually the bad play was the pin, I think. But unfortunately, you just missed the shadow. But so when you slam, try to like make sure that there's not like any. Try to like check if you can pin before just pinning, because the diva uses the diva bomb here, and had you not pinned, you would have been able to shield from the diva bomb. And then you just have to like stall. Stalling is not a very, in general, it's not very skillful mechanic, but it's a useful mechanic, so you might as well just stall it. But I'm just saying, like, there's not like a lot of ways for it to like perfect your stalling, unfortunately. So right off the bat, this Soldier 76 is on a different high ground than the Ashe. So you could potentially jump the Soldier because he's not going to be with the Ashe, and that's called basically taking like a local, like however many people are on the high ground versus 6. So I guess I was just guessing like 3 could be up there. So then if there were 3 up there, it would be called taking like a local 3v6. And then essentially like you take the 6 of them, and if you kill the 3 of them, the other 3, since they're separated, are not going to have as much detriment to you. And then I don't know, it's kind of a complex concept, but basically it just comes down to like jumping alone people or alone groups of people. Like even if like there was this one time where like I was playing and like a Lucio like just went on like some gigantic flank, and it was like an enemy Lucio, so we said like the Lucio's not with him, so we just took the 6 of us and then jumped the 5 of them and then fight your calls on that. And that would be taking a local 65. But enough on that. And another thing is you don't get the high ground. So overall you draw them to point, and then you do a really good job at essentially pressuring them out. But so essentially what it comes down to a lot is the Soldier and the Ashe are still up there. So had you gone up to the high ground, the Soldier would have been he would have had to take the fight on the low ground instead of the high ground. And then here, your Zarya and your Lucio would have been in this scenario. But overall, you do a really good job on this fight. Just the main thing is just get the high ground. But yeah, I think you end up winning this.
Teleporter online.
on the way.
Hello! Come out and face me! Come here!
My ultimate is almost ready.
Hello!
Actually, let me rewind it a bit. So right here, I
Almost ready.
think you have like 5 just kind of playing around this. Yeah, so, generally you just want to put one person on cart and then have the rest of the 5 people push up so they can claim as much map control as possible. So where you would probably go is through, so there's this door right here, and then if you go right of it, there's a door that will take you up here and then take you to this high ground. You would probably just want to go there with like your Zarya and then your like Symmetra and Junkrat, and then generally the support player with the least ult, the most ult charge takes the payload, because like if somebody already has their ult, you might as well just put them on the cart so the other guy can go and get their ult. So you kind of stay on the cart for a little bit. And so the benefit of the amount of people you put on cart is 1 on cart is 100% speed, 2 on cart is 118% speed, and 3 on cart is 133% speed, which you should only really put 3 on cart if it's absolutely going to be the difference between getting time in a different respawn or not getting the extra time and not getting the better respawn. So most of the time you just want 1 on the cart, but sometimes you'll put 3 on cart. 5 on cart, 4, 5, 6 on cart has no more benefit than putting 3 on cart. And then here you hit a slam, but as we can see, time, space, and the fabric of reality bend. And then while it was at it, the organization implanted fake memories into your brain to make you think that you were blocking a shatter rather than hitting one. So. So pinning here is not really the best, because basically you prevent yourself from shielding him, and you can just be swinging on him. You can just like just freeze him with your hand. Oh, either that or shield him, and then your Symmetra kind of die. So had you pinned, the Symmetra probably would have ended up living, because at the very least you could just like body block him because you're Reinhardt, and you can probably like have a screen if you're close to him. That's honestly really unlucky that the Brigade just booped you, but I think that was the right play of just like jumping past here with the shield, but pinning here ends up getting you killed. Yeah, so when pinning, you just have to make sure like is pinning even an option before you pin. So in this scenario, it's not because you get like way separated from the team, especially if I think you have Lucio Anna, but even that's still like so you're not gonna get heals because like the Reinhardt can just shield your Anna. And they just had like 2 shields, so it's going to be really hard for the Anna to be able to shoot through something like that. So your Symmetra's dead, and since you're on offense, you honestly might as well just like back up and just not take this engagement. Very nice to get that in. So this equalizes the fight. And generally, the Rein is worth like, so each player, if you think each player killed is worth 1 point, the main tank is worth a little bit more than 1 point, but they have an risk I never actually didn't consider that. Yeah, so the fact that they have 2 main tanks would probably not make the main tank worth more than one, because basically the concept is if any one of these guys get killed and you still have this guy, or then you can still just shield up and then just shoot at the enemy, where if they are missing their shield, they're just gonna have to take the spam essentially, Whereas your shield can block whatever spam they have if you get the main tank. But they have a second main tank, so that concept probably wouldn't apply now that I think of it.
Reality bends to my will.
I will not give up the fight.
My ultimate is almost ready.
Wait for me!
I don't know why this guy has it on like healing. Even if your Zarya's low on health, just speed over to your, put it on speed, go to your Zarya, and then heal.
Group up! Come out and face me!
Yeah, so here would be another spot to use the while you're walking up, you can either do that or since you have a Lucio with you, so in general, like this isn't like great if they have snipers and they have a Hanzo in this scenario, so you could probably just do this and then have your like Lucio speed you in, or maybe you could do this depending on like the Hanzo was like sort of gets spammed out a little bit. And another thing about the local 6v1, like the Hanzo, you can just go jump the Hanzo. He's like totally range. And then the Reinhardt, the organization teleported the Reinhardt to be behind you. So, I don't know how he even got it. That's ridiculous. But it was like one of my friends said, he's just like, it's plat, so everything's behind because that's all people do in plat is just blank all the time. I don't know what's about. Thank you enough switching wins here. Yeah, or yeah.
Wait for me! Imagination is the essence of discovery.
So in this scenario, yeah, the Hanzo's alone, and another thing is as dive tanks, high ground will be really beneficial. Essentially, I'll get a MS and my PC just okay. Here we go. Okay. So essentially, if this is like the track that the cart goes along, and then this blue area, so this is a little perch, and then this is the high ground. You know, you got like the stairs, and then you like the mini, and then you've got this little catwalk area right here. And the Hanzo is up here. So one, if he jumps, he's not necessarily going to get back to the health pack because he's a little bit far away. So you and your D.Va could jump up there, and even if you don't kill the Hanzo when he gets away, you can still just be like the Winston and the D.Va. And if you're against their like Rhine and the Orisa, then you can just, you don't have to use your shift ability. You can just fall onto them and then deal damage to them and essentially just jump whatever you want to jump. And then once you take too much damage, you just run away. So you don't have to use your shift ability if you're on the high ground. You can just fall onto them.
Payload secure. Move out.
And then, so here, I don't really think, with this dive, you need to scout this like a little bit more. Because like the Hanzo's right there, and he's pretty scary to your team in general. And not only that, he's alone from them. So he's essentially getting a lot of map control, which you could just easily take it away from him as like Winston and D.Va. So right here, you just might as well just jump the Hanzo. Okay, no. You get a 100, but everyone else is sort of dead by now.
That's better.
Here, don't like you don't have to leave the high ground. Like you can just like stay on it, you know. Especially since you have like a Genji, he benefits from that as well. So if you get the control of that, he's also gonna benefit from it. Right here you could probably. I think he leaves. Oh, yeah, never mind. My bad. Then. Actually, let me rewatch this fight. Hmm. So you jump to purple or this. You don't need to use her shift ability here, or really your bubble either. Because all this really does is it just kind of puts you further away from your team, basically. So had you just like walked into them, this probably would have like ended differently, I think. But yeah, the shadow's kind of unlucky. But
I'm ready to initiate self-destruct sequence.
Once more until we reach.
30 seconds remaining.
Ultimate ready.
and another thing is, you right here, like this Hanzo's positioning isn't like great. You can just tell your diva like where he is, and then just go after him.
Why is the payload stopped? There's no way I'm losing. Attack.
Okay, nice.
You're powered up. Get in there.
So when you're against like a Reinhardt as Winston, let me go as Winston. So basically, odds are you're not going to be able to deal 500 damage with a single magazine of Winston. So what you want to do is just like alternate punches in between your like you're dealing damage. And so I was at like I think 70 when I started this, and see, look how much like more magazine size I used just by like not throwing punches in. So you get really low here. So your first instinct should just be like go behind the payload and payload its cover, and then you heal that. Okay, but overall good.
Optimizing strategy. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A. 30 seconds remaining.
Looking up.
10 seconds remaining.
Maximum power! Taking out the welcome mat!
Okay, nice. So overall, you honestly play like really well in this VOD, but I'd probably just say like the main things to remember is one, prioritize high ground more than you have been. Two is like look for any scenarios where you could put yourself in a scenario where the numbers that you have versus the numbers of the enemy that you're actually fighting in the first place are higher. Where basically if you've got 6 and you just see 2 that are kind of alone, just go jump them. And another thing is if like this is like the place where enemies coming from, just go like that essentially on the wall. And that's pretty much all I have to say.